Okay, this one is going to be a bit interesting. Gary Cooper, named after the actor. Good afternoon. Okay, Trump derangement syndrome. You hear it all the time. Trump is living rent-free in your head. President Trump, number 45, he is living rent-free in your head. That is very common to hear folks on the right state to folks on the left. So what does that mean? Good afternoon, Miss Goddess. What does that mean when folks state that you have Trump derangement syndrome? Obviously, yours truly, your humble correspondent, I'm asking that for a reason. I have no shortage of viewers, and my audience is primarily MAGA. No shortage of viewers that say this all day, every day. So we're going to be talking about that. What is Trump derangement syndrome? What does it mean to have Trump living in your head rent-free? I'm trying to figure out what is the difference. If you take a pickup truck, for instance, there's a TikTok video of a guy who took his pickup truck, lifted the pickup truck, put tailpipes on it similar to a semi-truck, and painted pro-Trump paintings all over it, including photos of Trump himself. Can you have Trump derangement syndrome and be a Trump supporter? Or can only liberals, Democrats, and detractors of the president have this syndrome? That is what we're talking about. By the way, the box is open. It's a crazy topic. I know it sounds like a bunch of flaky bullshit, but I'm asking this because I hear it very often, certainly from MAGA. If you actually think Trump was colluding with Russia back in 2016, you have Trump derangement syndrome. Well, what? And I'm getting that comment from Tank in the comments. So if you believe Trump and Russia colluded together, then you have Trump derangement syndrome. So is it based on things you believe? What is Trump derangement syndrome? If you believe Trump is totally innocent in regards to January 6th, does that also mean you have Trump derangement syndrome? How do you know what are the symptoms of Trump derangement syndrome? And why are so many folks bringing it up? Now, make no mistake about it. When I say the box is open, my audience is primarily MAGA. So this is a MAGA-free zone, or better yet, a MAGA-friendly zone. MAGA-friendly zone. My audience is overwhelmingly MAGA. If you come in the box, no one censors what you have to say. You see my name, don't fucking run. My name is an invitation to MAGA to come in here. Okay, so looking at the comments, thinking Trump is innocent, says the Green Ranger. So in other words, if you believe Trump is innocent of the activities that took place on January 6th, you're suggesting that that is indeed Trump derangement syndrome. I'm just simply trying to figure out what the hell is Trump derangement syndrome. By the way, folks, tap the screen, get your boy likes up to 5,000. I want more MAGA in the room. By the way, liberals are welcome. Liberals are welcome in the box as well. We're trying to figure out what the hell is Trump derangement syndrome. What are the symptoms of it? How do you know if someone has Trump derangement syndrome? I hear it all the time. Trump is living rent-free in your head. Should he have to pay? Should there be a rental fee? How about a deposit? What does it mean to have Trump living rent-free in your head? That's all we're trying to figure out. Looking at the comments. The way you are acting now, says Chastity Renee. The way I'm acting now suggests that I have Trump living rent-free in my head. What if I was speaking in favor of Trump? What if I was MAGA? I donned my MAGA apparel, and I wore it every day, and I spoke positively of Trump on a consistent basis. Does that mean I have Trump derangement syndrome? Does that mean Trump is living rent-free in my head? Does these terms only refer to folks who are a detractor of Trump? If you absolutely love the president, you love the economy he gave us, and hell, I did too. If you love the way Trump was running the country and you speak positively of him all day, every day, does that mean you have Trump derangement syndrome? How do we diagnose this? How the hell did we diagnose what Trump derangement syndrome is? Then you're a good guy, says too. So if you speak positively of Trump all day, every day, 2x2 Dad says that you're a good guy. I love it. I love it. Love the name too, by the way, sir. I don't know if you are liberal or Republican, but you speak facts for sure. Now, I really like that comment, John Mark Cook. Appreciate that. Your humble correspondent loves that. But make no mistake about it. When I have folks in the box, if you want to speak negatively of me, if you got criticisms, you're welcome to. We don't censor comments. That's how we do it here. As long as the discourse is civil, you're welcome. You're all welcome. Looking at the comments, a small loan of $1 million from daddy. I wish my dad had $1 million to give me shit. Shout out to his dad. Trump derangement syndrome is wokeism, period. The idea Trump is the most racist, bigoted, xenophobe today's liberals all have. Well, those same viewpoints are what you often hear from Trumpers about Biden. So would it be safe to say that MAGA has Biden derangement syndrome? Because you said, folks who think that Trump is the most racist, bigot, xenophobe. I get MAGA in my box all the time. If you don't vote for Biden, you ain't black. I don't want my kids growing up in the racial jungle. I get quotes from Biden all day, every day from MAGA. So is it safe to say that MAGA has Biden derangement syndrome? I'm just trying to be fair, folks. This is what it's all about. Calling a spade, no matter who's dealing. Calling a strike, no matter who's up to bat. So are we suggesting that MAGA has Biden derangement syndrome? Looking at the comments, Hunter games begin. Hunter games are not going to go anywhere as long as his dad is president. Not defending it, not suggesting it's right, certainly not saying that Hunter Biden is some kind of angel or something like that. Devonati, thank you for that heart. Yahoo, appreciate that. But yeah, nobody's defending Biden here. Just simply saying, as long as his dad is president, Hunter Biden will be safe. And make no mistake about it, if your mom or dad was president and you did what Hunter Biden did, you would be safe too, and so would your children. Looking at the next comment, Trump is a fraud. Wow. Trump is a fraud. Then the next comment says Trump for president. Why not Bernie Sanders? How freaking old is Bernie Sanders? I mean, seriously. Now, he seems to be more cognizant of his surroundings than Joe Biden. But make no mistake about it, Bernie Sanders is already 80 plus. You want to put a president in office already in his early 80s and then give him a chance to do 8 years? Really? Okay. How about Michelle Obama? As a liberal, I believe from the liberal side of the aisle, Michelle Obama is by far the best choice, but she has indicated she does not intend to run. Vikings are winning the North. Go Bears. But you may be right. All politicians are dangerous, but it's who uses their power responsibly is what matters to me. That's a fair question. Yes or no? Knowing that my audience is primarily MAGA, I'm going to ask this question, yes or no? And I expect to get a certain answer, yes or no. Do you believe President Trump, number 45, used his power responsibly? While in office for 4 years, do you believe the former president used his power in a responsible manner? Now, I understand his whole spiel was make America great. Pro-America, America first. So do you think he used his power in a responsible manner? Looking at the comments says, yes, says Moto. Right by Will Huffin saying, no, he did not. And right before that was Sean saying, absolutely not, and laughing. Wow. So, and that's the question, though, because that's what they all are supposed to do. But make no mistake about it, when you're running a country of 330 million people, it doesn't matter what the hell you do. There's going to be people who say you did not do the responsible thing. Martin Luther King. How many protesters that joined Martin Luther King were arrested, beaten by police, had dogs sicked on them, or even lost their damn life? Some would argue that Martin Luther King did not use his power responsibly. You're putting people in harm's way and costing them their lives, costing them their freedom, putting their safety at risk. Point is, no matter how you use your power, there are going to be folks who suggest you did not use it responsibly. Looking at the comments, no, not one president has been responsible in 100 years. Wow. Well, we've been a country for well over 200 years. Are you suggesting the founding fathers did a better job? First 150 years we were a country? Were they doing a better job back then than the last 100 years? Based on the facts found by the January 6th committee, it's very clear that he abused his power. You know, in MJ Powers, the problem is, though, most of the folks on the right, my beloved MAGA audience that I make it clear I enjoy speaking with, they're not even watching the hearings at all. They're not tuned in at all. And they look at the hearings as if 100% of the information presented is a lie. It's biased. It's dishonest. Anyone who worked for President Trump, that was appointed by President Trump, that only got a White House job because Trump gave it to him, any one of those folks who speak negatively of Trump instantly become a rhino traitor committing acts of treason. So you're not going to get the Trump supporters to believe anything that comes out of that hearing unless it's positive of the 45th president. Looking at the comments again, watch the videos that they are not showing. Well, you got to watch the whole thing. You can't pick and choose which videos are good and which ones are bad. There are videos of folks being let in the Capitol building. And MAGA points those out regularly. But the ones where they're beating the shit out of Capitol Police and busting in the building, well, it's only a few people doing that. You got to watch the whole thing. You can't, I agree, you got to watch all the videos, not just the ones they aren't showing. You got to watch them all because the ones they are showing happen too. They may be delivering a biased presentation, whereas they're not showing videos that may be in Trump's favor. But the ones they are showing are not doctored. The ones they're showing happen too. So you can suggest that they may be guilty of being biased by omitting certain videos, but the ones they're showing are not doctored. Those happen. Those videos happened as well. Let me see who's in the box right now. Kid, what does that say? Doc, good evening, or good afternoon,
brother. Kid. All right, how you doing, my? I was sitting here listening. I was listening here, like I'm always doing around this, sitting here listening to you. Sometimes I listen to you on and kick some ass. Sometimes I can't. Today, I got to check, man, because I'm listening to what we start talking about the MAGA crowd, right? And they start to try to they try to justify. Like anybody going inside the symbol of our freakocracy, there is no such thing as a justification, right? They talk about it's the people's house, right? And essentially it does belong to the people, right? But guess what? It's all the people. So your 75 million trump the other 220 million that it also belongs. So if we all live in a house and you decide in a house, you say it's 20 people that live in this house, and 6 of the people want to go in and just break all the shit in the house, right? What about the other 14 people? Do the other 14 people have the right to tell you, this is my goddamn house too, don't tear up my shit? Seems simple.
I agree with what you're saying, because I use that same defense as that even if it's the people's house, you have no right to go in there and destroy every damn thing.
Yeah, it doesn't matter if you have to share it with other, and it's what takes care of you. You don't have the right to knock the walls down. You don't have the right to smear the walls. You don't have the right to do any of those things. Yeah. And MAGA is deliberately saying that we, for some odd reason, they not part of that. I am not a part of that mess. They have the right to go in and do please when it does not suit their purpose. And I just don't know how they come to
this question, because this came up before.
Yes, sir.
If MAGA had gotten their hands on Mike Pence, do you think they would have actually harmed him that day?
I think that the ones that were enough that had gone in the because the ones that had gone in the bill, we know for a fact they're sensitive material, right? Things that if they got in the wrong hands, right, our destination as a whole, right? So if they weren't worried about, like, once they got in the building, we know that there had been like a terrorist inside, that they would have walked in there right with everybody else, the sensitive information and documentation, and they would have allowed treason to occur over and over and over and over again. Or not treason, but and they didn't vet anyone that was breaking inside the building. The MAGA crowd didn't vet anyone. they're willing to allow the espionage to happen. Why would they not have harmed people? Right? Would they if they're hitting police officers, right? And them, right?
Yeah.
So across the country, so there were 4,000 times that people had struck officers around the country. In the whole United States, 4,000 times people had or struck an officer of the law. That day, it doubled at the Capitol the amount of times that people had hit officers in the United States. There were 9,000 incidents of people striking officers and 4,000 for the country as a whole. So talk about your fucking blue line.
What about it from this angle? You've had a lot of folks say, how could it be an insurrection if they didn't have any weapons? What about the notion that no one there had weapons, or the belief that no one had weapons?
Is assault predicated on whether a firearm? I don't think that was ever a thing, right? Pretty sure assault doesn't give a shit whether you have a knife or a stick or a pole. I don't think it makes a difference as far as I'm concerned. As far as people going to like whenever I've ever seen assault charges and what it was, the weapon that you were wielding, I don't think it matters. Never will. So yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so in regards to what took place on January 6th, there's no denying that several protesters committed crimes. But what about the president himself? Do you hold him responsible for what happened that day?
You know what? If you want to call yourself, right, because president is right. The title is not actually president of the United States. We just made that shit fuck up. There's another title. His title is commander-in-chief, right? It means he's the executive uniformed commander of all other So in keeping with the highest of the United States military and code of military justice, you are held to the same standard. So if there are people, and there's even those individuals could go to a place that is, and it is sovereign United States territory, and you tell them to go, and there's even a chance that you have now committed at the very election of duty. Because he did tell them to go. And if bad people in a crowd, and you know that there are bad actors, and he was brief, there are people from Signal 88, there from the Proud Boys, there's a couple other really bad groups, and once he was briefed, and knowing those people were in the crowd, and you sent them to the symbol of our democracy, quite frankly, you're the one that's at fault. You can't tell bad people to go peacefully. You can't tell people from all those people the Aryan Nation. You can't tell Aryan Nation members to go and be. They're inherently by their nature, by the nation bad.
Fair enough. Listen, well, I do got to move it on. I'm doing a brief lunch break. Hey, as far as I'm concerned, you got your point across. I appreciate that, man. All right.
Hey, man, I love you. I'm out of here.
Peace. Absolutely. You're welcome back. Hey, the man got his point across. I see the comments. By the way, folks, make no mistake about it. Yours truly, your humble correspondent. I do pay attention to the comments. I like to make sure my viewers, particularly the callers, are getting my undivided attention. So I don't want to interrupt, but I do see your comments coming in. So a lot of folks agreed with him. I saw Shantae in there, but then other folks thought he was completely off his rocker. It is what it is, but that's what we're asking before I go back to the box. I see folks are in the box. We're going right back to the box. What the hell is Trump derangement syndrome? That's what I'm asking. Trump lives rent-free in your head. I hear it all the time, particularly from those on the right, particularly from MAGA. Trump lives rent-free in your head. What does that mean? Should I charge him? Should he have to pay a deposit? What does it mean to have him living rent-free in your head? If you got a Trump 2020, which is 2 years in the past, if you still have a Trump 2020 flag in front of your house, does that mean you also have Trump derangement syndrome? Or does it only apply to detractors? Going to the box. Mark Time. Welcome back. Let's bring Mark Time on the program. And says yes. Okay. Well, I guess I'm trying to figure out what this means. Mark Time, talk to me.
How are we doing?
I'm doing good.
Just on the clearing up something from the last caller, there absolutely were weapons there that day, and not just your like pipes and flagpoles and bear spray and zip ties and clubs and all that kind of stuff, but there were rifles. People have already been charged for firearms. And part of the problem with them not being able to kind of accept the reality and what's actually going on is, they would watch the January 6th hearings and find out that, the three percenters did have a cache of weapons just off site, so that if things did go the way they wanted it to, they would have had guns there any moment.
Right.
And you
So
can look up. I
okay,
mean, this is on Law and Crime.
I've heard that as well,
Yeah,
particularly that they advised President Trump that folks were armed in the crowd, and Trump. This is from the
yeah,
January 6th hearing, so I know a
oh
lot of
yeah,
my folks are not watching that. But apparently, Trump responded by saying they're not here to harm me. So Trump
yeah.
was advised that folks in the crowd did have firearms. But what do you believe Trump derangement syndrome? What is that? If you hear that term, what does that mean to you?
Yeah. Well, I was just going to add real quick that he told them to take the mags down, to take
Yeah, and that came
um,
out in that hearing as
the
well.
the
Yeah,
electric or
that
whatever,
came
like
out.
the scanners.
Yeah,
The people
right.
were
The
all
magnetos,
getting,
the magnetos.
yeah,
Yeah,
the magnetos. Yeah, Trump deranged. No, I think you kind of hit the nail on the head for that one. I think it is absolutely like a reflex. It's like a playground, schoolyard. Like, I know you are, but what am I? Like, stop talking about Trump. Stop talking about Trump. He's not even doing anything right now. But like, it's just a deflection. Like, I saw the guy. Like, I think I was in here. Yes, I think it was yesterday, where that guy would just came in and was super disrespectful and was just
yeah,
trying to
yeah.
ask every question under the book of like, what do you even care about Trump? And it's like, because he's the fucking mob boss puppet master who is trying to get his name out there. And
That was an
you know
interesting caller. Yeah, he was adamant that I need to stop
yeah,
talking about Trump, and I
yeah.
said, "Well, Trump is going to run again." He goes, "No, well, no,
Tell
he's
him to stop
not."
talking. Yeah,
Yeah, he tried to swear up and down. You need to stop talking about Trump. He's out of
yeah,
politics. He's in the past. He's not going to run again. And then when I asked him, well, why is his campaign selling Trump 2024
yep.
paraphernalia? And he goes, well, I've never seen anything like that.
Right.
So
Just in total denial. It's
yeah,
ridiculous. Of course, they're the ones who are, we don't have, a Confederate flag that has a Superman Trump with a six pack on it. We're, we're not the ones
does
who,
that exist?
oh
Does
yeah,
that
there's,
actually exist?
there's stuff of him as like Rambo, and it's just it is ridiculous. We're
Wow.
not here for Joe Biden. Joe Biden was a pragmatic means to an end, which was to get Trump out of office and to get his like corrupt family and all these like acting secretary this or that and the other, because the people he picks can't pass the Senate. It's yeah. So
Let me repeat this though. A Confederate flag with President Trump on the front of it, with muscles and a Superman. Is that what you? Because I want to see that. I'm going to ask folks on my profile. I got my email there. Somebody send me that, and I'll actually do a video with that as the green screen. I need to see that. That is hilarious.
do Rambo too. Do the Rambo one too.
Oh my god. Now I would have to ask the audience: is someone donning or displaying something like that? Is that derangement or not? Wow. I have
Oh man,
never
yeah.
heard of anything that, because Trump is one of the most, despite I think his economy was pretty good, but in terms of fitness, Trump is one of the most out of shape presidents we've had in recent memory. And to put his head on the Rambo body is hilarious.
Yeah, it's absolutely. Oh yeah, the golden statue. I forgot about that. With the golden statue at CPAC, where they were like praying to it. I forgot
Oh
about
my.
that. That was so funny. Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
And then where's
hilarious.
all the they talk more about Joe Biden than any person on the left ever does. Like, it's such this form of projection. They're like the Biden crime family, which is just so funny to me. Like Hunter. No one works in the government. Trump actually hired his family. Trump put his son-in-law in charge of Middle East peace. Are you kidding me?
Well,
Like,
wait a minute. Let me ask you this, though. Despite the fact that Hunter Biden is not in politics, you don't think he potentially used his dad, who obviously is in politics, you don't think he used his father's influence to do anything?
do Charles Barkley's kids use Charles Barkley's name to make money? Of course. He's a crappy
Okay.
artist. He's
Okay.
a
But what
pumped
about
up.
the possibility? You ever heard of the phrase 10% to the big guy? What about the
Uh-huh.
possibility Biden not only did he use Biden's influence, but Biden may have participated in some of that? Is there any possibility of that?
Like gotten a kickback or something?
Yeah. Like
Yeah,
he
no, I mean,
knew what his child was actually doing, knew it was wrong,
sure.
but because he financially benefited in it and actually allowed it to happen.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you and I can absolutely have a good faith discussion on this of like, this is kind of the problem with politics, and this is why people, like hated the like meritocracy kind of climate that, the 90s Dems built with like Hillary Clinton and Bill Clinton and, the like I think that's why like current MAGA is like, oh, Democrats just all look down on us. They're all these like hoity-toity Hollywood college, blah blah blah. Like they perceive that still. That has not worn off. That stereotype about like, and Joe Biden obviously has been in politics for 50 years and again like wasn't anybody's first choice over here. So
Right.
we like
And I agree with
there's
that.
an
I agree
ability
with
to be
that.
able to recognize that and admit that and still say with full clarity and context that he is not working in government. This person does not have responsibilities. It is not the same as like making your daughter your like protege
Yeah.
and getting
Yeah.
them, multiple $billions a year and like speaker fees and, like even like Kimberly Guilfoyle, you're down to like the girlfriends of people
Yeah.
who are just like making
60
money off
grand.
this machine.
60
Yeah.
grand. All she had to say was, here's Donald. And she got
Yep. Exactly.
60,000. Oh my God.
Exactly.
All
So
right.
no,
Yeah.
it's not the same. It's not.
All right.
It's not the same as if let's just say that they're right, and Joe Biden got 10% of whatever oil electric company like fee or whatever. I mean, like he can be talking about anybody, and it's not the same because they're not, in
All
charge.
right.
Like getting $2 billion from Saudi Arabia, like
Yeah.
that kind of stuff. It's not the
I
same.
get your
So
point. All right. Well, I got to move it on, man. You know how we do it.
peace. Yep.
Talk to you
Thank
again
you.
next time. Appreciate it. All right. Moving the program. Let me see here. Go back to the box. You're not saying things that should be said. You could do more. Nick, come in the box. Let your boy know what should be said. Let me know where I'm missing out on. I take detractors, criticism. I take it all like a champ. Come on in the box. Promise you'll get plenty of time. You won't be censored, at least not by yours truly. I can't control what the hell TikTok does, but when you come in the box, regardless of what side of the aisle you're on, and by the way, I do prefer oftentimes talking to MAGA. This is a MAGA-friendly zone. Come in the box. Let me know what the hell I'm getting wrong and tear me a new one. The pleasure will be all yours. Fair enough. Do it in front of, what is it, 163 now? Sometimes we get as high as 800 people in here. The box is all yours. Going back to the box right now. Stitch of truth. Stitch. Let's see what's going on.
Hey, what's
Good
happening?
afternoon.
How you doing, man?
How you doing? I'm doing good. How do you come in, real quick, before you go, Stitch? That gentleman asked, how do you come in the box? Bottom left-hand corner, you should be down there where you got the little two people that says guest. Click on that, send an invite. I'll put you on. Talk to me, Stitch.
So, for Trump derangement syndrome or whatever, and this is what I say. I don't necessarily fear Trump. I fear the followers. And what I mean by that is whenever we talk about communication, let's say, for example, you notice whenever Trump was president, he would say something stupid, right? And then we'd be like, hey, look, did you hear what Trump said? And then the followers would say, hey, well, this is what he meant. Well, I think he meant this, or I think he meant that.
Well, let me interrupt you, and I'll let you finish as usual, because
Yeah.
my audience is primarily MAGA. You said Trump said something stupid. Well, I got a lot of MAGA folks out there that has never heard anything stupid Trump said. So my question to you, give me an example of something stupid that President Trump said, and then you can continue.
All right, right off the cuff, whenever we were talking about when the pandemic first happened and they were doing that press conference and he was talking about, hey, we should be able to inject people with bleach or whatever, or shine the light on them and that sort of thing, right? So from there, number one, I heard that, oh, well, he was being sarcastic. Number two, he was joking. Oh, you shouldn't have took it that way. He didn't mean that literally, that sort of thing, right? And
Okay.
so the main thing that I'm saying is if you notice that whenever, we may have a criticism or we may say something, hey, this is what Trump did or what did you mean? Oh, well, he didn't mean that. But yet and still, Biden, whenever he made that comment about, if you don't vote for me, you're not black, right? You remember, everyone remembers
It
that comment.
comes up all the
And
time in my broadcast. Comes up all
right,
the
right,
time.
right,
Supposedly
right.
suggested Biden is more racist than Trump. Go ahead.
Right, right. So then when people attempt to clarify, hey, well, look, it was a stupid comment, but it was an off the cuff sort of joke. It was a joke, that sort of thing. And it seems like that certain philosophies in the mindset as far as the perception of Trump is good. Whenever we're, criticizing, we're talking about these sort of things. Oh, no, 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 it wasn't that. But if you notice, if someone else says a comment, someone in the Democratic side, hey, look, this is what oh no, 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 no. No, he meant that literally. Oh no, 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 no. He is
So in other words, they can see the brighter side of Trump's comments, but they hold the Democrats to what they said literally.
exactly. The equal
Yeah.
lens is not being used.
Right.
And that is my main thing is that okay, fine. If you want to criticize either candidate, cool. Use the equal lens across the board. It seems like in my encounter with certain people with Trump, there's no account, and I use this word all the time. There's absolutely zero accountability whenever it comes. A lot of things is able to fly, and I think that's the reason why I do fear the followers of Trump. Do you remember that video when that guy got stopped by the police and he started praying to Trump? Do you remember that?
No, I have not seen that.
I did a TikTok maybe about a year ago. This guy, the police was encountering him, and he was like, "Please, Trump, please, please, Trump." He says Trump and God in the same sentence, and I
Wait
was
a
like, you
minute.
know what?
His ass beat by the police, and he's praying to Trump.
Right, right. He's in the car. You see the police on the outside. They're coming in with the nightsticks to break the glass, and
What
this
the
guy is
hell?
literally praying to Trump. That's exactly what happened. I'm not
Let me
exaggerating
interrupt
whatsoever.
you. Yeah,
Hmm.
let me interrupt you. I'm just want to ask the audience. Am I the only one that has not seen? Has any of you guys seen this video? A guy getting his ass beat by police and he prayed to the president. Wow. Yeah, I
Yeah,
don't know
he
what to
was in
say
his
about
car. Yeah. Yeah,
that.
he was
But
in his car. Yeah, and yeah, they break the glass, and he was like, it's funny because he's like, please, President Trump, please, and then he says, dear God, please, and I'm like, what the hell is going on here? And so to me, whenever I seen that, I was like, oh my gosh. But I've heard people say this. This guy said on CNN, you know how they do the town halls. He was like, if Jesus came down himself and Jesus told him something and Trump was telling him something else that he would believe Trump over Jesus. This guy said that. And I'm not trying to say all the so-called MAGA people are like that. But one of the things that tells me is that that's when I think this is the reason why I fear more Trump followers more than anything, is that a lot of people, whether they know it or not, subconsciously are aligning their value to this guy, their value as people to Trump. And that is dangerous. That to me, I would never tie my value or hold my value to any political figure. But it's a lot of people out there that do that, and that is dangerous. I mean, to me,
yeah,
my
I mean,
self worth is more than a political figure.
when you start praying to a human being as if they can subconsciously hear you and they're nowhere around you. Hopefully, that's not by any means common at all among MAGA. Hopefully, that's one nutcase out of millions of people. Because that I don't want to know what the explanation is for that. I'd have to see the video because first thing I want was he just joking? I mean, he couldn't have
No,
been
no,
serious.
no. Yeah, I tell you what. Go to me. Probably. I'll tell you what. Here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna repost it today. I'm gonna repost it, and I will tag you to it so you can see it. And I was just like, and
Wow.
I'm not trying to say all the so-called MAGA followers are like this. I
No,
think
they're not. They're not. They're not.
the majority are not. But I will say there are some hardcore people that are like that. And to me, and this is why I think this is a problem in the political landscape. If you find right now, a lot of people are more willing to compromise with their extreme side of their ideology rather than compromising with the opposition. That to me is a problem because now you think the middle ground is in the opposite direction. And that's the reason why a lot of people are saying, hey, well, look, you hear what Trump said, or this is what's going on. They don't want to hear that because they look at the opposition almost as not even being there. They think the compromise should be with the extreme parts of their party. And that's going to get us in a whole hell of a lot of shit, if you ask me.
Well, it certainly can if people are on the toilet. Somebody else talked about somebody on the toilet praying to Trump. I don't know. Like I said, you can like the
I
man
didn't
and
see
his
that.
policies, but I just saw it in the comments. I've never seen any of these videos, but I would love to see them if somebody want to send it. But listen, I got to move the program on. You definitely have said some enlightening shit that I've never heard of. I'm gonna have to find that. I need to see that. But I
I
appreciate
will
you
tag
coming
you
to the
to it.
space. All
I'll
right,
tag you to
please
it
do.
today.
Please do. Catch you
Okay,
later,
man.
man.
Take care. All right.
All right. I have no idea what comments, Ani Henzo. I have no side. I voted Trump because of policies. That's all. And this committee hearing is a sham. Well, in regards to the committee hearing being a sham, listen, if you are on the side that Trump had no culpability for January 6th, it was just crazy protesters doing that and he's not responsible, then yeah, you're going to think it's a sham. And there's no way to turn that around. I don't give a shit what comes out from the hearing. Some folks have their mind made up already. They had their mind made up the evening of January 6th. There's nothing here. So, I mean, the hearing is for those who are willing to watch it with an open mind. Even if you believe Trump had nothing to do with it or Trump had everything to do with it, there are some folks who are watching that hearing that can be convinced based on what comes out of that hearing. But the folks who cannot be convinced probably are not watching the hearing to begin with. So it's going to be a sham or a witch hunt to you because your mind is already made up. Going back to the box, I'm asking a question. What the hell is Trump derangement syndrome? I get it so often. I figured I'd do a broadcast on it, and we'll be on here at 7 o'clock tonight doing the actual broadcast. What is Trump derangement syndrome? Is it something that only folks who have an issue with Trump can have? Because we just talked about folks praying to Trump. Someone who actually would pray to the former president. Is that a sign of Trump derangement syndrome? What about folks who are still flying Trump 2020 flags or saying that the guy won? Is that Trump derangement syndrome? Or is it only possible to have derangement syndrome if you are not a fan of Trump? What are the symptoms of Trump derangement syndrome? All right, going back to the box. Divonati, one of my favorite viewers. Divonati, let me know if you can hear me there. Good afternoon.
Hey, yes, I can. And
Okay.
you're right about that. I mean, it's like that. I don't believe that there are people on toilets praying to Trump and all that kind of stuff. Maybe that happened and that's just like, messed up videos and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, it could happen. There are crazy people out there that do that kind of stuff. They can pray to whoever. They can pray to the handsome guy.
What would
They can
cause a human being? What would cause a human being to say a prayer to the president of any
exactly.
side of the aisle?
Exactly.
What?
And also, Trump is like what? He's going to be 74, 75, something like that. He's in his
Yeah,
70s.
yeah.
So even if he serves one more term, that's it. And I really feel for all the people who, hate the Trump supporters because, like you said, everyone had their minds made up on January 6th. They had their
Yeah.
minds made up, at that time, whatever about Trump and all that kind of stuff. And, it's sad that we have to go through all of this and spend money just to like what? They're trying to they try to impeach him. And then now they're trying to put him in jail so that he doesn't run again. And, they found things against, the people that, that he used to do the stuff that, that we need. And honestly, I'm a Trump supporter, right? And I was thinking, okay, so next election, right? If Trump is there or Ron DeSantis, because I live in Florida, I'm in Miami, Florida. So who do you think's going to win? Is it going to be a DeSantis or a Trump?
For
I mean,
you're talking about
It's going to be a
if
Republican because Biden is out, and Democrats because of what has happened with the gas prices, and not only that, but it's also all the other
yeah, but
stuff.
you're asking who would win, Trump versus DeSantis?
Well, I'm just saying that it's going to be a Republican, and DeSantis is he's talked about Trump many times, you
Right.
know. So I mean, it's like
Well, here's the point. Now, you're obviously suggesting that a Republican will win because Biden administration has been a failure. Here's
true,
my take on that. And I get your point. And there's some legitimacy to that to some degree. However, I don't think what you're not taking into consideration is that it's possible that there could be so much infighting in the Republican Party that whoever emerges as a candidate could be damaged to the point where they are now weak enough for a Democrat to be competitive. And if you put Trump versus anyone in that party, and that person has not got permission from Trump or an endorsement from Trump to run, that person will be severely damaged. So let's say DeSantis runs against Trump, but
okay,
DeSantis emerges victorious. The amount of abuse DeSantis will take from the Trump campaign will make him a far weaker
candidate, yeah, or
politician, yeah, far
politician, yeah.
weaker candidate when he goes up against the Democrat. So Trump has an enormous amount of power to weaken, if not destroy, political opposition.
Well,
Hillary Clinton, Jeb Bush, Mitt Romney, Liz Cheney, all of these folks are losing their whole careers going against Trump. So
oh
if
yeah,
DeSantis was to survive, he would be
Pelosi's
really
out.
hurt.
I'm going to tell you that, as she's going to be out forever. I mean, her whole
Right.
career is gone. And when they asked her about insider trading with her husband, she denied it. So
Now you're talking about you talking about Cheney?
no, I'm talking about Pelosi. Pelosi.
Well, she's like 80 some years old. She don't give a shit about her career ending. She's in her mid
Well,
80s.
no, yeah, she doesn't care about that, but
Yeah, that
she can
doesn't
still go to
matter.
jail. Look what they
She,
did, huh?
you really believe Pelosi is at risk of going to jail?
No, I think that her husband might be
No,
for
not
insider
gonna.
trading. Yeah.
You think that Pelosi couldn't a lifetime in politics? You don't think she could pick up the phone and just get all sorts of favors called in? Her husband is not going to jail.
Well, that
And by
also
the way,
goes.
how old is her husband?
Well, that also goes with what you were talking about before, and a lot of comments came in about like it's like who you know. It's like people are
Right.
making money
And she
off of
knows everybody.
Charles
And
Barkley,
she
and
knows everybody.
okay, yeah, it's who you know, and I'm
Yeah.
sorry that people hate that, but it is true. It's who you know.
Right.
So
Right.
So the thing is, like, if you know a politician, or if you're friends with a senator or a House representative, personally or whatever, or they're your lawyer or whatever, it's like, yeah, you can get away with a lot of stuff. I mean,
Yeah.
not like felony stuff, but like misdemeanors, whatever. Just like being pulled over by the cops. And I don't like the racist stuff because my dad's from Jamaica, all right, and we've
Okay.
never been racist and all that kind of stuff. White, black, it doesn't matter what color you are. I'm best friends with Chinese people that people are
Well,
saying that they don't like Chinese.
if you ask people, nobody is racist. 99.9% of Americans will say they're not racist.
Well,
Even the
no, of course not
Klan,
until it actually happens.
even the Klan will tell you we're not racist. We're just for the promotion of the white race. No
So,
one is freaking
did you see
racist.
that
Nobody
video?
is going to admit that.
There was a video that they were talking about the Klan, right? And they asked who started the Klan. Was it a
Okay.
Republican or a Democrat? Do you believe
It's
in that? I mean,
Democrats. It's Democrats.
Democrats. Like, I'm okay. So why? I mean, it's like so many people who are minorities. I'm not going to say black, whatever, Chinese or whatever they are. Whoever the Klan was started by Democrats, and those people are the ones who they follow the Democrats so much. Because what? They give him $600?
Let's be clear about something. The Democratic Party was the party of slavery, the party of Jim Crow, and they also started the Klan. However, look at the symbol the Klan uses predominantly, which is the Confederate flag. Who's flying that flag now? It's pretty clear some sort of a switch happened.
Yeah, it's
When you look at the
country.
Democratic Party and you look at how diverse the Democratic Party is compared to the Republican Party, not to mention even just the other day, the Republicans had a rally of some sort, and there were white supremacists. Why are the white supremacists constantly hovering around Republican gatherings if the Democratic Party is the party of racism? I mean, Biden, nobody shows up to a Biden rally, but there's a few people that go there. Why aren't there any swastikas or Confederate flags showing up to his gatherings? I mean, that's the party of racism, right?
Yes. And
Why is that?
I feel like sometimes, when, you guys talk about these kind of things, I'm like Switzerland. Okay. I'm like neutral because, it's like, I can't take one side or the other because like you said, white supremacists. Why are they white supremacists? That shouldn't even exist. And the same thing with like black people. It shouldn't exist that there's like a division. Why is there division? It doesn't matter. This is America. This is where people came from. Yeah, there was slavery.
But America was founded on division. That's why it exists. I mean, we've been divisive since day one.
Yeah, but from England. Okay, so we all fought.
No, it
from
wasn't
England.
just from England. It was from the Native Americans. Then we brought over.
Yes.
We've been divisive to
Going back further. Yes, you're right.
You want to bring up the Irish? We've been divisive to every. The English came over here, conquered this country, made it their own, and they were divisive to everyone else that was not them, including the original
I love talking
inhabitants.
to you. You are so you're right about all that. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's divisiveness.
Okay, there's always division on that, and if you think about it, like since as far as I've been born and as history is from America, it's always division. And so, what does that show for our future? There's always going to be division, right?
Right.
And that's sad because who is the one who wants to change it? When there's change, that's the problem that people have. And with Trump, he was trying to change things. Like he made the most minorities have more employment. He gave them more money.
But what about his constant discussion, or I can't think of the word.
He could be misogynistic or whatever,
What about his constant taunting of democratic cities? You think that was unifying? Baltimore is a shithole. You think that's a unifying comment?
Well, I think that, okay, if I say that, okay, like Chicago is like a bad place or whatever, it's like because these people are running it, it's like I want to change it. And he goes in and changes it, but he can't do it because we have a democratic, society.
Yeah, but why not go in there? If you think the Democrats are truly screwing up in Chicago, why not go in there and try to work with the Democrats as opposed to going on national TV?
Because they just don't like him. That's it. Well, it's like if they don't like you or they don't like me.
Wait a minute, though. You're saying they don't like him, which is true, but I'm asking you this question. If you think the Democrats are screwing up, why not go in there and try to work with them as opposed to calling them idiots on national TV, which is leading them to not like you?
Because I think that's more like, okay, if I say the handsome guy is an idiot and I'm a politician just like you, I have as many viewers as you do, then it causes, a little division. And it's like, who's going to pick who? Are you going to follow D. Valnati or are you going to follow the handsome guy? It's like.
So in other words, you're admitting he was being divisive.
Yeah, but only to the reason because he wanted to change it. Otherwise, if he didn't care, then he wouldn't care.
That's fine. But if you want to change something, but you start out from a divisive standpoint, nobody's going to hear any message beyond that. I mean,
you know how the government works is, I mean, you're very smart in how the government works. And, if you actually have to go through Congress and it's like work of Congress is what they call it. It's like it takes forever. It takes months and years sometimes. To get
but you don't have people going on television. I understand what you're talking about in regards to the government. But when you start out with an insult like that on national television, which is not what typical politicians do, you ruin any good you were intending to do. Most
And
politicians
that's
would never do that.
and that's why people were saying they don't like politics, because a typical politic is the person who just like goes through, he like, you know, different ways than Trump did. Trump was like straight on. It's like a freight train. He was
So
like,
you prefer Pocahontas, is what you're saying. That's a better thing to do.
well, I think, yeah, poke the bear and see what happens.
Well, he's in Mar-a-Lago. That's what happened.
I
You
know,
poked
West
the
Palm Beach.
bear.
I know. I've seen him there a couple times. Yeah.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
poked
And
the bear and he poked the bear and he got mauled to death. Now he's in Mar-a-Lago. He got impeached. That's why when you say that they were
actually,
after him from
Mar-a-Lago
day,
is a very nice place. I'll tell you that. Honestly,
well,
it's a very nice place.
maybe he'll choose to stay there. When you say when you, yeah, I'm just simply saying when you suggest
You should
that
come down seriously and go to Mar-a-Lago and actually look for it, and
I
actually like stay there and have dinner and
you
stay
can't
in the
run the
hotel.
but Mar-a-Lago's a vacation spot. The White
Yes,
House is where you go to actually do the job for the country. That's all I'm saying.
true, but I mean,
Mar-a-Lago is
he
where
was
you
already
go when
kicked
you
out of
want to
that.
be on
He was already
vacation.
kicked out, pretty much. I
Okay.
mean, he
All
didn't
right.
win the
All right.
election. Do you
Okay.
believe that
But
he won the
the
election?
point I'm trying to make is this. The point I'm trying to make is this. You talked about poking a bear. And then you hear folks say they were after him from day one. They went after Trump since day one. They impeached him twice, and they would never let him get a free moment to work with the country. When you poke the bear, that's the stuff that happens. When you do Pocahontas and all these nicknames, folks come after you. That is the end result of that is folks come after you and make up shit and attack you from every angle when you do what you're suggesting was a good thing for him to do. So if he
Yeah,
comes
and
back and he
I've
does
been
that
there,
again, that's going to happen again.
of course, and I've been there because of the because I like Trump and all that kind of stuff. I mean, Florida is a very Republican state, so
Right.
he won Florida. I don't know,
Okay.
Chicago. What did Chicago do? Illinois,
Beat his ass. They beat his ass pretty bad. He's never going to win Chicago.
because that's a Cubs shirt that you have on, right?
No, Bears.
Oh, Bears. Okay, Chicago
Yeah.
Bears. Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
All right. So yeah, I love football, and I'll tell you what, Dolphins would do pretty good this year. They
Hey.
they
All
got a
right. Well,
couple
look,
guys.
I got to move it on, man. I'm on
All right,
lunch
man.
break.
We'll talk. Yeah, we'll talk again. All right, bye.
All right. Come on back. Come on back. Hey, folks, in regards to his comment about Chicago, I'll just say this. If you watch right-wing media like I do, whether it's Fox News, sometimes I'll watch Newsmax, I certainly listen to talk radio, the trashing of Chicago by the right wing is insane. I don't think the voters in Chicago will ever support a Republican candidate. It is horrible. DiVunati, damn. Thank you. Such a pleasure. Always welcome back as usual. Thank you for that. But yeah, the trashing of Chicago by right-wing media, probably because of a few reasons. Obviously, the right is heavily in favor of the Second Amendment, and Chicago has often made a mockery of that. That is changing now. It doesn't take a lot to get a gun in Chicago legally anymore, but the Second Amendment and certainly their ties to President Obama. That's really when the attacks of Chicago started, is when Barack Obama became president. To make Obama look like a piece of crap, well, you got to attack the city he's from, because when Obama became president, he didn't have a lot of negative stuff in his resume. He was new on the scene, so there wasn't a lot to go after. They made him into a Muslim, they went into his church, and they attacked his city. And that has pretty much launched what you see now is Republicans still using Chicago as the national whipping boy, even though currently St. Louis is the murder capital of the country. Going back to the box, Shante 7-7. Isn't Al Capone and Dillinger from Chicago? I believe so, yeah. And by the way, Al Capone finally went down of tax evasion, even though he dodged all the other charges. They're going after Trump on tax evasion. Talk to me, Shante. What's up?
Hey, okay, first, I just wanted to pop in here real quick. Okay, so your last caller, he'll agree with everything you say, but he's going to end up repeating those same talking points to someone else. and you just know it, you feel it, because you're like, he wasn't really listening.
He's MAGA. He didn't agree with me on. In fact, most of the things I said, I don't think he agrees with me on.
Okay. Well, yeah. We'd rather
Okay,
have Trump than Mar-a-Lago. Yeah, he can stay right there. Real quick, absolutely love the analogy for the party switch. That was amazing. I took notes. I mean, because if you try to just come at them with, the whole, well, there was a party switch, and then they're like, well, they'll come back with something else. You can't dispute that. That was chef's kiss. Also, I heard that yesterday you guys were talking about Mike Pence being a pretty, we shouldn't rule him out. And to be honest, even though I'm a leftist, I mean, if it wasn't for like the whole, Christian type thing, I could see myself voting for Mike Pence over Joe Biden. I know that sounds kind of weird, but
let me say this though, in regards to Mike Pence, because he often gets hammered for being so religious. I'm not very religious at all, even though I grew up in the church, directed the choir, all of that stuff. But I have to ask the question: if you get a citizen body that actually follows Christian values and actually really does follow it, would Christian America really be that bad if they actually did what they're supposed to do?
Instead of using it as a weapon against someone, against groups you don't like. Yeah.
I mean, if they weren't so damn judgmental and some of those things, I mean, if we went back to God, and like I said, I'm not religious at all, but I know what's in the Bible to some degree. If we went back to that era, but actually tried to live it out for real, would it really be that bad? I mean, to me, it sounds like it might actually be a better America.
Yeah, that sounds great, but you know good and damn well that'll never happen. It's so indoctrinated and used as a weapon.
I tried.
You trying to be you the middleman, I understand. But yeah, it's so ingrained.
I was being sincere as hell. I'm like,
I know you were.
I'm like, let me try to run this by Shantae. I was trying hard. But
you said it. Yeah, you said it with your whole chest. I understand. And then the Trump zealots, that video that you guys were talking about, it does exist. I did see it. The guy was serious. He was just like praying, and he even started crying because he was like, please, Donald Trump, please. And he had his hands all crossed, in prayer form, and he's just like, and I'm saying these type of people are the ones that they talk about. Well, the guns, and we want to protect the guns for these. These are people that get a hold of the guns, and yeah, those are the scary people. But yet, I mean, I just see the irony in the fact that somebody will still defend his right to keep multiple weapons. Because he's on our side, so it doesn't matter.
So in regards to what I started out originally asking, I mean, I'm sure you've heard this phrase as well. What do you think Trump derangement? What is that? When somebody say you have Trump derangement syndrome, because I get told that all the time. What does that mean?
Yeah, I think they think this is a team. This is like a football game, and that their team finally, you know how when Obama got in office, and a lot of us were extremely proud, and we were like, yeah, we got one, and people helped us get in. It wasn't just black people that voted for him, and we had a sense of pride. Now, we didn't take it so far because we still understood that he is a politician. But if you get people that are so not only outraged that they had a black president and that black people were emboldened or felt proud, and on top of that, they have this racist superiority complex. On top of that, they're crazy as hell. Then they ultimately, it doesn't, that makes this mix of the most zealous person that just envy Trump. It could have been Trump. It could have been anybody. It could have been any white guy speaking the same thing Trump was saying and doing the same thing Trump was doing, and they still they would be on that person.
Okay, fair. So let me ask you this, because Trump is obviously getting to be up in age. You think there'll ever be another Trump, somebody who speaks in that manner, able to get that type of a following, that type of an audience? Will there be another guy like that? I mean, it's like saying in
Yep.
the NBA, there'll never be another Michael Jordan. Will there ever be another Trump?
I don't know if there'll ever be another Trump, but the idea or the fact that people are going to attempt to be another Trump just for, because they saw the benefits. Because everybody, if you look up to something, you're going to strive and try to, duplicate as much as you can. And if that particular person gets up into politics and then gets a higher up to where they do get elected president, they're going to try to top what he did. Because it seems like it's a competitive type of thing.
How can you possibly top getting a person to actually pray for you, to pray to you?
I don't know. And how can you top, just telling people send me money for a Trump 2024 t-shirt, and I don't know if I'm running or not. I don't know.
I can't. I mean, we got some people on the left side that are able to raise money, stuff like that. But I don't think there's anybody on the left that has that type of devotion that MAGA gives Trump. And I can't think of anybody in the last generation. Even with Obama and Clinton being very popular presidents among the liberals, they didn't have that type of love that love and adoration that MAGA gives Trump. I mean, there was plenty of folks on the left talking about Bill Clinton with Monica Lewinsky and Barack Obama. Folks, plenty of black comedians, joked about Obama and everything. When the adoration towards Trump, I have never seen it before.
But you ultimately know what it is. It's a retaliation thing. We got how dare you put this black guy in, and now all these black people think they can be president too. It's just counteracting that movement. It would not have been strong if Obama wasn't, who was his, Mitt Romney, who was going against him?
Mitt Romney and McCain. McCain first, then Mitt Romney in 12. Yeah.
Yeah. So if one of those would have won.
You're talking similar to the 1988 album by Public Enemy, Fear of a Black Planet. So in other words, you're talking about fear of a black president, which ultimately led to this. Wow.
Because
I gotta move it on. But damn. Okay.
All right. Well, you have a good day. Thank you so much.
You too. Appreciate you coming through. All right. Obama very professional. What did it say? Obama's very, very professional and smart. That's why he got in. Divinati. Obviously we all were around when Obama got elected, and calling him professional and smart was anything but what they were actually saying. I mean, I used to debate Bill O'Reilly, who was still on his radio program at the time, and they were talking about Obama was going to. What were the things they said? If Obama got elected, they were going to raise gas to $5 a gallon, tax us at 70%, take away all guns, and turn us into socialist Greece. At the time, Greece was doing really bad. Now it's Venezuela. Anybody who accuses you of being a socialist, they're going to point to Venezuela because that's the worst country on earth in regards to socialism. At the time, it was Greece. So that was what was going to happen if Obama got elected. 70% taxes, no guns, $5 gas, and we were going to become Greece. Obviously, Obama served 2 terms. How close did we come to that? Did we almost get to the point where no one had guns? How close did we get to $5 gas? 70% in taxes? How close did we start looking like Greece? 8 years he was in office, so that's what we were told. And I think Newt Gingrich is one who actually said that as well. Mama Shauna says Obama is an amazing man and a great president. History will likely judge Obama quite favorably. I mean, he's been gone now for 6 years, and his reputation has remained rather. I was no fan of Obama. He had plenty of negativity to say about Obama. And not only did Trump have negativity to say about Obama after Obama was no longer president, he trolled him the whole time he was president too. And Obama's reputation has still remained rather strong. So we'll see what happens in regards to history, but I do believe that history will judge President Obama quite favorably. Looking in the comments real quick. Amazing man, amazing father, terrible president says, aim to please. Well, he's a liberal. If you lean right, you're not going to like you're supposed to not like Obama or a liberal president. I mean, if you lean right, if you're a Republican, chances are you're not going to like any liberal president because you don't like the policies. You're going to think all of their policies are horrible for the country. They start talking about limiting guns or getting rid of high capacity weaponry or being pro-choice. These are horrible things. You're not going to like any of that. Same-sex marriage rights. So my guess is any liberal, and vice versa, by the way, and vice versa. Plenty of folks thought George W. Bush, George H.W., and Ronald Reagan were racist. They were saying all the same shit. So you're supposed to dislike the opposition. The problem is with the Trump administration, you got a lot of lifelong Republicans that are saying horrible stuff about Trump. You can call them rhinos or whatever you want to call them all day, any day, but you take Liz Cheney, for instance, which MAGA horribly disagrees with. The election was held on November of 2020, and President Biden took office 2 months later in January. You look at Trump's term, from the time he took office in January of 2017 all the way to the election day of November in 2020. No one was calling Cheney a rhino. 99%, over 99% of Trump's term, the Republicans favored Cheney. It wasn't until the last 2 months where she refused to go along with Trump suggesting the election needs to be halted that suddenly she became the most horrible human being on earth. But in terms of Trump's actual administration, she voted with the guy like 96% of the time. It's just that one thing she didn't do. Same thing with Mike Pence. Mike Pence was down with the program. Going all across the country, holding rallies, holding meetings, speaking quite favorably of Trump. He didn't refuse to certify the election, and now he deserved to lose his whole life. Just for that one thing. That is why I strongly believe when folks say Trump coming back in 2024, regardless if you think he deserves a second term, you look at Biden and you think Biden is a complete failure. I personally believe, your humble correspondent, that the elite members of the Republican Party do not want Trump back in office. I'm not talking about the voters. I understand MAGA is down for Trump. That is understandable. I'm talking about the elite members of the Republican Party. How many times has he criticized Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell? Most of the key members of the Republican Party have been trashed by President Trump. Most of the ones you actually know with recognizable names, with quite a bit of seniority and a large following, have been trashed by President Trump. We're not talking about liberals. They're supposed to hate liberals. That's fine. You can talk about liberals all day long. That's fine. You're supposed to hate liberals. You're not supposed to hate Republicans. And most of the key members of that party have been trashed by Trump and MAGA. So my guess is there is a large portion of the elite members of the Republican Party that secretly do not want Trump back in office. These are folks, the McCarthys, the Romneys, you name it, the Marco Rubios. These folks have a life of politics ahead of them. Marco Rubio could easily be a politician for the next 20, 30 years. They know under a Trump presidency, if we say anything he don't like, he might destroy our entire career. Without Trump, we're guaranteed to be around 20, 30 years or until we die. We don't want to go out looking like John McCain or Mitt Romney or Liz Cheney, who was in the sunset of her career, guaranteed to serve in Wyoming as long as she wanted to. We don't want to run afoul of this guy and he destroys our career. So my guess is a large portion of the Republican Party secretly do not want Trump back in office because he will throw anyone under the bus, including his own vice president. I got to run, folks. I'm on lunch break, as you know. Catch you tonight at 7.